Hello, wonderful teachers, and welcome to this tutorial on how to use forums in your campus pages. So first off, as you can see, I have editing turned on. So if you haven't done that yet, you'll want to make sure you do that. And I'm going to scroll down to where I want to create my forum for an example, and let's get started with making a forum. So the first thing, obviously, add or an activity or resource. We're going to go to forums, click add. And then in here we have a variety of different options, and some of them are really cool. So the first thing obviously is creating a forum name, the forum, and then the description is it's basically directions for your students. So it can be as long or as short as you want it to be. Just like with anything, you can include pictures if you want to. You could embed a video if you needed to here. There are a variety of different ways you can do this, but this is basically just a regular text box label, just like the weeks. So you can adjust it to your heart's content. Now, like with assignments, you can hit to display this description on the page, so whatever appears here can appear on the course page. So basically you'd see example forum and then all these directions below it, or you can just leave this closed, so that way students don't see this description until they actually open up the forum. That's typically what I do, because usually I don't need them to see these directions beforehand, but if you did want them to see the directions before, just click on this. Now with forum types, we have several different options that we can use. The first is standard forum for general use, and it looks like this. You would have the discussion topic. You would click on this to actually view what your student said. You have who the student is, what group they're in, if they're in groups, how many replies, so whether or not people are conversing about this topic, if you've read it, and how many are unread. So right now, as you can see, I have read it, but if it was unread, it would read 1, and then whoever did the last post and when. So that way I can keep up with what's going on. So like, for example, if I like to make sure that I hop into all of the forums and talk with them, I could actually see, oh, I'm the last one who made a comment, or in this case, my test students is the last one that made a comment, so, that way we have set some information. The next kind that we can use is standard forum displayed in a blog-like format. This one's actually really cool. So as you can see, instead of just showing the name, the person, the time, all that stuff, instead it actually shows me what they posted, just like it would on a regular blog. So this is the title, this is the person, the date when it was posted, and then their actual blog or their actual post, and it appears here. Now you'll also notice that it has over here the replies, so that way you can see if there's further discussion on it, and if you wanted to respond to it, you click discuss this topic. But it's a really cool way of displaying things, especially if you want students to be able to get a better idea of what everybody's saying before they post. The next one is the Q&A forum. Now this one works a little bit differently than you might expect. What happens is the person, preferably you, actually posts the first topic in the forum, and then the students respond to you. When they respond, up until the point that they respond, they can't see anybody else's answers. Once they respond, though, they can see all of the other answers, including their own. It can come in handy for certain situations, but I haven't really had a ton of luck with this, and you have to be very specific with students because they're used to creating their own posts, and so the idea of just responding to a post is a little bit foreign to them. So you make sure that you give really clear instructions as to how you would want this done. The other one, everyone posts this one discussion, so it restricts them as to how many they can post. Typically, we don't have problems with them over posting, creating too many new topics, but you could use that. And then a single simple discussion is, another one that's kind of like that. Typically, the ones that I use are these two right here, the standard forums, either in blog-like display or for general use. So I'm going to choose blog-like format because I think it's a fun one. You can pick whatever one you like. And then let's go through some of the other things. So next major one, grades. you basically have a choice whether or not you want a form to be graded. By default, it's going to give you the option, but by default, it's also going to choose no ratings. No ratings means that it's not putting this in the grade book. It doesn't count for anything. Don't worry about it. Now let me show you real quick what would happen if we did no grading or no ratings, and then what we would do if we wanted to add ratings to that. But yeah, you can do no ratings. We'll do that as an example real quick. And then other common module settings, obviously show or hide. You can separate groups if you have groups. Otherwise, you do no groups. I do have groups in this class, so I'll leave it alone. And that's basically it. Now, if you do want to add grades, you would change this to, I suggest maximum rating. So that way, if you have a student who did like a half-hearted job, you gave them a 1 out of 100 or 100 out of 10, then you can go back, you can give them full credit, and then that's what counts for them. And then, of course, the grade category, you'd want to pick where it goes. But like I said, we'll do that in just a second. So let me hit Save and Display, and you can see basically what it looks like. This is what happens. We'll hit add a new topic and you can do stuff there. But before we talk about that, let's go back to the assignment. If you wanted to add grades, and here's what that looks like. If I wanted to add a grade for this, what I would do is click discuss this topic. And then as you can see, it has a maximum rating. These ratings actually go into the grade book like a regular grade, which makes it super easy to grade these things. Unfortunately, there is no way to give automatic zeros to students who don't participate, so you'll want to use single view to do that. But it's a really, really, really easy way to grade these things. Now, say you wanted this, but you have it without it. Here's how you fix that. You'd go back into Edit Settings. You actually are going to have to come in here twice, I'm sorry to say. The first time around, you're going to notice that Grades isn't here, Ratings is. So I'd want to hit Ratings, Maximum Ratings, always leave this point, it's just easier. Maximum points, you can make it worth however much you want it to be, and then Save and Display. And then to put it in a category from here, go back into Edit Settings. You'll notice Grade has appeared, and we can put it in a category. So that way it lines up in the grade book like it should. If you forget that second time around of adjusting where it goes in the grade book, you can always fix it by going into the grade book and then choosing categories and items and moving it to the proper place. So that's how all of that works. So let's actually play around with this a little bit. I already showed you how to grade, pretty easy. Drop down box, or you can also type inside of it what you would like them to have. Some other things you can hit, as you can see, we're already in this one if you remember. You can hit reply and leave a response. So, great job. It's one of my favorites too. And then hit post to forum. Voila, it'll tell you this. Hit continue, and there you go. As you can see, I now have responded. And that means that if I go back to the main discussion, you can see that now there's one reply so far. So that's pretty handy. Another thing that you can do, which is really important sometimes, is edit. Say you have students who have added something that you don't want in there for whatever reason, you can actually go in here and make adjustments. So if they're adding images and you don't want the images in there, if there's anything inappropriate, you can take that out and it'll make sure that they see that it has been edited, and then you can have a conversation with them if necessary. You also, if you needed to, could delete them as well if you really needed to. Now, just for the sake of everything, I'll also show you real quick what it looks like if you don't have it in blog-like format. All right, so as you can see, I still have my discussion. I have how many replies. Obviously, I've read them all. I'm the one that did the last post. But I would click here to open up the discussion. And then as you can see, I can see everything from here. I can still have all the same options as before. Now, you might have a forum, and if you have a ton of students, one of the handy things that you can do is actually open these up in a new tab to make it a little bit easier. So that way you don't have to hit the back button or try to navigate around differently. So one thing to remember with the ELC, if you have more than one page of the ELC open at one time, don't work in both at the same time. It will weird it out just like it would with most websites because it's like, wait, what are you doing? And so, yeah, not a good idea. But if you want to look at a discussion and you don't want to leave this page because you have a bunch and you're scrolling down and helping yourself keep track of them, you can right click it on a PC, and then I know that there are options for how to do it on a Mac. You'd open it in a new tab, and then if I go over to the new tab, it's here. When I'm finished grading it, responding, all of that, I would close it, and then I can go into the next one here. Just a little tip that makes it a little bit easier to deal with all of these. So I think that's about everything that you need to know. If you have any questions, if you need any help, just let me know. Have a wonderful day.